Hello, hello. Happy Friday, everybody.
Yeah, day two.
Yeah, day two.
Yeah.
We've got a lot in store today,
Mhm,
but
we do.
I was thinking earlier when we were getting ready to get started, I was thinking about a saying that I've seen, and it says, anytime you order from a small business, there's an actual person doing a happy dance.
That's
right?
true. That is so true.
Right?
Yep.
Well, we feel like you guys deserve a happy dance because you guys liked this, didn't you? You guys are amazing. We can tell that you like it because we've seen our shipping department's really busy. So that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yep.
And we're so thankful that you took the time to come hang out with us and check out something new.
Yeah.
And I saw a few comments in here that I loved too that said, I never thought of doing a log cabin in the hoop. I saw that a couple times yesterday.
Yeah. And why not? I don't think there's anything that you could not do in the hoop. So if
Yeah.
you got suggestions,
I just think it's so fun how we've got some new people and we're kind of opening up some new ideas and new doors and things that you can do with your embroidery machine that maybe you hadn't thought about before. Yep. So that's pretty fun.
Yep. It is very exciting. And we're really excited to see all the new people come in and do this for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I swallowed a dictionary the other day.
Did you?
Yeah. It's the sorest my throat has ever been.
What is going on? It must be Friday.
It's Fun Friday.
Annie's got jokes for you guys today. Oh, that's great. Okay, well, there you go. Now you have a new joke to share with somebody.
That's right.
Oh, that's fun. Okay, so now that I've completely been thrown off my game with that terrible joke, I want you guys to know that we have 2 giveaways today.
That's right, we do.
2.
So you'll have to be on your toes. They're going to have to type 2 different things in, correct?
I think what I'll do, since I'm such a nice person, is I'll just tell you what they are right now, and then we'll remind you a couple times. So let's just dive into the giveaways, okay? And we're gonna pick the giveaway winners at the end. But we have 2 of them. So you want to talk about the first one? And I'm going to pop the keywords on the screen. And yesterday, someone who I'm assuming they're new said, what do I do with the keyword? So you just comment on the post with the keyword we're going to give you. So the first one, Annie, you go ahead with the first one.
Okay. The first one is some Sew Tight magnets. Sew Tights was kind enough to donate this to us for a giveaway in one of our lives. So this is it. It's kind of like a magnetic sewing pin.
Yeah, it's cool.
So, So somebody will receive that if they type in the keyword Sew Tights.
Yep. And we will pick a winner for that. There's lots of things you can do with that in your sewing room. So that'll be a nice, fun little prize. So we'll ship that to a lucky winner. And I'm very well aware that the next giveaway, you guys aren't really a football crowd, right? I'm assuming. Let me know in the comments. But I secretly love football. And my Detroit Lions are in the NFC Championship, and I am like over the moon. And we are the only team in the NFC who has never, ever been to a Super Bowl. So if we win this weekend, we're going to the Super Bowl.
That's right.
So my second keyword that has literally nothing to do with anything else that we're talking about today is the word Lions. And if you're a 49ers fan, you still have to type Lions to get into my giveaway, okay?
I told her, I said, we might be talking about to the wrong audience.
I don't care.
Football.
We're talking about it. I don't care. So anyways, I see some laughing emojis. So we're glad that we could bring a little bit of a smile to your face today. But now it's time to get serious. We should probably talk about what we're actually here for.
That's right. Today I'm going to show you how to trim the blocks using the Trimmer by George. I'm going to show you how to correctly pin them together.
Julie put Lion's puke. You got to remove her from the. No, just kidding.
Will it still work if she added
that
last second word?
She could still win.
It's worth it. Yeah, just one time. Type in those, 5 letters.
Yeah.
But I'm going to show you how to trim. I'm going to show you how to pin so that nothing moves while you're sewing. And then I'm going to sew the seam. I'm going to show you how to press it. And then how to add a sashing strip to the back to cover the raw edge.
Before we do that, we didn't talk about this yesterday, but there's some layout opportunities
There is
in here that I would like to show them.
Yep. And
What do
I
you think?
bet that some of the people that come from a quilting background probably know how versatile log cabin
Mhm.
is and the different layouts and how you can turn the blocks and come up with lots of different layouts. But if you're coming from an embroidery background and you're just kind of, finding your way into quilting with your embroidery machine, you might be surprised at the number of layouts.
I was surprised. So do you mind if I show that real
Yeah,
quick?
I think you should.
All right. I'm going to add this to the stage. And do you want the next page?
I think that page kind of shows it really well because
Okay.
honestly, I don't remember what's on the next page.
The next page has other layouts.
Okay.
Because I looked before we.
Yeah. Yep. Go ahead and show the next page.
Look at that.
Look at that. So, and these are just like the tip of the iceberg of what you can do with a log cabin block. Just so many different ways that you can lay it out. So this will be on page 2 of your instructions. So be able to get some creative ideas in that of how you'd want to lay yours out. And of course, those pictures that you see there, they do not have the border picture because I just wanted you to focus on different types of layouts, kind of spur on your creativity.
Okay. What's on the next page? Oh, that's just that.
That's just that.
So let's take it over to your trimming
All
demo.
right, let's do that. Okay, so first of all, I want to tell everyone that when they use the trimmer by George, you will need a 60 millimeter rotary cutter. And I'll show you why here in just a second. And for those who have never seen the trimmer by George before, basically it is an acrylic ruler, which we've all have those and seen them before. But I'm going to show you the end of it. Best way for you to see it right there in the middle. It has this metal edge on it. That metal edge.
Here, go from this side.
Oh, okay. You see the metal edge there? That metal edge is going to protect the fabric on the front of your block. So you're going to tuck this metal edge in between the battleizer and your fabric that's on the front. And then you'll use the edge here and your 60 millimeter rotary cutter to cut the waste away. So, and this is the reason why you need a 60 millimeter, because this metal edge does raise your ruler up a little bit so that you need to be able to clear your screw here on your rotary cutter. So I'm going to trim. I have 2 blocks that I'm going to trim today. This is the one we made yesterday. And this one I did this morning. And that's one of the border blocks. So any block that is in the middle of your quilt is going to be trimmed on all 4 sides using the metal edge of the trimmer by George. And that's because it's going to be joined to another block. So that's how you tell whether you're just going to cut through all the layers or if you're going to cut away the waste that you want to get rid of here. So since all 4 of these sides will be trimmed to another block, I'm going to use the metal edge of the trimmer by George. You're going to just raise up the fabric and you're going to slide that metal edge between the fabric and your battleizer. Just kind of give it a little shimmy and then just lay it down. I also like to just give it a gentle tug. You don't want to tug too hard because that could happen, but it just grips right the edge where that stitching is. And then as long as you don't see any fabric peeking out, then you can use your rotary cutter and you just put it along the straight edge of the metal edge there and it trims that away. I'm going to do that on all of these sides. So again, you just shimmy that in there and lay it down. Give it a gentle tug, and then you trim it away. Keep going around all 4 sides. And your instructions will tell you which blocks are going to get trimmed with the metal edge and which sides will get trimmed with a ruler. So this is our last side here. Gentle tug, everything's clear. And then we just trim it. So this is what it looks like on the front. And this is the back. So you can see how we've eliminated the bulk that will be in our seams is now gone. So now what you're going to do is where this basting stitch is, right there, you're going to use the ruler side of the trimmer by George, and you're going to put that 1/4 inch mark right on top of that basting stitch.
It works for lefties too.
Yes, it does. I cannot demonstrate that.
You just use your other hand.
Yeah. So you're just going to go around the entire block until you get it all trimmed up.
So that's a great question. Why can you not use a 40 millimeter rotary cutter? So let's talk
Okay.
about that.
I should have brought one in here to compare. The reason is because when this is out, you have like this much space. You see, I'm not going to touch it.
Yeah,
But
don't.
you can see how much room you have right there between the edge where it cuts and the screw that's going to hold it in place. That's 60 millimeter across here, but if you had a 45, you would not have nearly as much room. And you need the bigger one because of how the ruler, the metal edge is going to lift up your ruler. So you need to be able to clear that. If you try to use a 45 millimeter rotary cutter on here, the screw is going to end up hitting the top of the ruler. And so when that happens, you would have a tendency to cut then on an angle like this instead of straight up and down. And if you were cutting on an angle, you're going to slice into your fabric anyway. You got a pretty good chance of doing that. So you definitely need to have a 60 millimeter rotary cutter. So there is this block. We're going to work on trimming this one now. Now this is a block. This is a border block that's in your log cabin design. And basically, like I said before, any side that's going to be sewn to another side is going to be trimmed with the metal edge of the trimmer by George. This is going to be the edge of my quilt or where the binding is. In this case, we're not going to use the metal edge. We're going to trim a 1/4 inch through all the layers because we need to have something that our binding is sewn to. So I am lining up the 1/4 inch mark on the ruler with that basting stitch, and I'm cutting through all those layers. And then the other 3 sides will have another block sewn to it. So this is where I'm going to use the metal edge to trim away the bulk so it's not in our seams. And you just pull the fabric up and shimmy that metal edge in there. Give it a gentle tug, make sure nothing is showing. And then use your 60 millimeter rotary cutter to cut away the battleizer, cuts the battleizer and the backing fabric away. Okay, and then, so there's what the back looks like now. I'm going to flip it back over, and now I'm going to cut a 1/4 inch, and it's the fabric on the front is all that's left, and I want that to be a 1/4 inch from the basting stitch. So I'll use the ruler side of the trimmer by George. I think my ruler slipped. That's okay. And this is the binding edge, so it's already trimmed. I like to, personally, it doesn't matter, but I like to trim the side that's going to have the binding on it first because I tend to fly through it and I keep turning it. But believe me, if you ever do something where you're like, oh, shoot, I should have had left everything on there, it's really easy to fix. This wasn't part of my thing today, but I'm going to show you anyway. All you need to do is to cut a 1/4 inch of battleizer, making it the width of whatever you're covering, and glue that in there. And your binding will go over the top of that anyway. So there's just a little tip in case you do an oopsie like I've done before in the past. Obviously, I've had to figure out a way to fix that. So here's our 2 blocks. That's the binding edge. So these 2, here's my binding side. You're going to place those right sides together. Now, sometimes in our quilts, we have like different match points where either the piecing or the quilting flows from one block to another. And we call that a match point. And we always try to pin at the match points. In this particular situation, I only have 2 match points, and it's the corners. So I'm going to flip this, put the right sides together. And what you need to do when you pin is first you're going to pin your match points. So there's a match point, that's my corner. And I'm going to pin it through the corner on the other block. So there's my match point. You can see it on both sides. You're going to leave your pin going straight through there like that. You're not going to bring it back, at least not this pin. We're calling this our anchor pin. It's holding our match points in place. I'm going to go ahead and put another anchor pin down here in this corner. And I'm going to leave it that way as well. So hopefully they can all see that my pins are just going straight through like that. Now I'm going to take a second pin that is going to stay in there when I do my sewing. And I will put it first just through the seam allowance, not through the block with all the battleizer and everything, through the seam allowance and then back through the block. And then I can take my anchor pin out. And the reason I do this is because if I would just take this and just stick a pin in here like this, you have a tendency for your layers to shift. So this keeps the layers from shifting and it keeps our match point where it needs to be. And by putting it through the seam allowance and then back through the block, it eliminates a lot of shifting. And this little block, I'm going to put another little anchor pin through here. This anchor pin, even though there's no match point, I want this anchor pin to hit the basting stitch on this side and also the basting stitch on that side. And then again, I'll just leave that in there so my match point is where it needs to be. And then my next pin will go through the seam allowance and then back through the block, and then I can take out my anchor pin. So I'm going to head over to my machine and I'm going to stitch a seam, and I'm going to stitch that seam right on top that basting stitch. All right, so Aubrey's gonna.
Well, she does that. Yes, thank you. I will do that. We do have a couple shops that have this in store. So if you are near any one of these, we highly recommend that you go support the local quilt shop. They have all of the same bonuses, the limited time pricing, should they choose to do that. So check them out if you are local to them. If you don't have a local quilt shop by you, we will talk about ordering this direct from us as well, but we highly recommend you support the shops if they're near you. I will come back to these, so just know if you're just hopping on, we will talk about ordering and all that good stuff and get you the best pricing possible. But it looks like Annie's ready at her demo cam, so I'll send you over there.
Okay, so can you guys hear me okay? Okay, so I have my machine set up. I put a blue thread in here, the blue that I use for the quilting, only because I wanted you to be able to see exactly where I'm sewing. And I just want you to see what I'm doing. But when you do this, you're just going to use a neutral color thread that's going to blend in with the fabric that you've used, and you'll match the needle and the bobbin. The other thing I have here is I have my walking foot on here. That would also be highly recommended that you use your walking foot. And when I begin stitching, I like to begin, we have our little 1/4 inch seam that's right there. I like to begin just right on this side of the pin, and I'll go backwards and then I'll come forward. And I am going to sew right exactly on that basting stitch. So let me get started doing that. I'll put it in about 1/4 inch and then I'll back it up, and then I'm going to take the pin out and go forward. Don't ever run over your pins. So I'm sewing right on top that basting stitch. And I just did a little back stitch there as well. And let me cut a couple threads here. So you can see where I've sewn. I've sewn right on top, exactly on top of that basting stitch. So hopefully, we don't have a lot of match points on this, unfortunately. It's just at the top and the bottom. But if you did have match points, they would match up perfectly by doing it that way. So I'm going to run in there by Aubrey, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to press it. We'll talk about pressing.
Okay, so as we get transitioned over to talk about pressing, this new design from us is just $45. So you can get this as a download or you can get it on USB. And then hopefully, Nina, you don't mind popping the ordering link in. Again, if you have that local quilt shop by you, go talk to them. If not, you can order it direct from us. And Annie's so quick today. I promise I will get to my slides, but she's ready.
Well, not everything will be necessarily quick. Okay, so we have it sewn together, and now we're going to press it. And we press our seams to one side, and we alternate rows. And this it just comes from the quilting. If your background's in quilting, you'll know exactly what I mean. But by pressing one seam in one row going this way and the other seam going that way, that it tends to help it lock nice when you go to match it up. And it also reduces bulk, so not everything's going the same direction. So if you have used wool, I highly recommend that you don't just do one of these. Because if you did, the whole purpose for your wool with that extra loft that you want and extra dimension is just going to end up being flattened. So we have this little doodad called the strip stick.
Or doodad.
Doodad. It's called the strip stick. And it's basically, it's just, well, you can see it's kind of rounded on this side and flat here. So it lays nice and flat, but it gives you a hump to press over. So if you've used wool, you're really going to need the strip stick. And we do have that on our website. And what you're going to do is you're just going to lay the seam in the middle of that strip stick and just have the tip of your iron touch it. And that will hold it all in place. I also like to use I like the Mary Ellen's, what is this? Mary Ellen's Best Press. Give it a little skirt that helps hold your seam down where you want it to be using the tip of your iron. That way, just the tip of your iron is touching the seam, and the strip stick helps you to keep from smashing down your wool. Then I always turn it over and give it a little press with the tip of my iron right there. And so now it's laying nice and flat. And then the next step that we're going to do, and maybe when I reset my machine up, Aubrey, I'll give you a thumbs up when I'm ready. Maybe you can go to some of the slides you're wanting to show them. So what I'm going to do now is when I step into the other room, this is a sashing strip that is going to cover the raw edge. And I chose a contrasting color because, again, I want you to see exactly where it goes, what it does, and all that. But it's basically going to cover the raw edge of that seam. So what your sashing strip is a 1.5 inch piece of fabric that you folded wrong sides together so that the raw edges meet in the back. And on our trimmer by George, by the way, I wanted to also show you that there is a sashing mark. So there's a mark for sashing and also a mark for binding. So that is definitely another awesome thing that the trimmer by George has. So basically your sashing strip covers the raw edge, and I like to take it and mark where the two raw edges meet right along with that seam. Okay, so you just line it up with that. Now you can use like a Wonder tape, which is a double-sided water-soluble tape that you can put down and then pull the other paper off the other side, and you can adhere the sashing strip to it. However, once you do it one or two seams like this, you're going to go, that's more of a nuisance. After a while, you really don't need it, but it's kind of makes you feel a little more at ease in the beginning if you want to give that a shot and you're worried about this moving around. So as I sew it, I'm going to use a serpentine stitch, and it's just going to meander on this side. And as I begin sewing on that side, I'm going to line this up and then sew, and then check it again, line it up and sew. So I'm going to go get my machine set up for that. And I
Watch
think
this cord.
Aubrey has some slides to show you.
Okie dokie. Just real quick, we did put a survey in our VIP Facebook group recently. If you're not in that group, go get in that group. It's a really great place to be. I know it's super easy to watch these lives on YouTube because I can send you a direct link. But if you're not, you should get in this group just for the community aspect. You can post your pictures, and it's a really great community where a lot of people are super supportive. And they're going to tell you how beautiful your work is, which it is. And you can answer surveys like this. So, what this survey is showing is just the wide range of different things people like. And what I love about this particular project is the range in block sizes that comes with it is 5-inch all the way up to 10-inch. So if your embroidery machine has a 5-inch sewing field, you can do this project. If you have a brand new big hoop and you can do that 10-inch block, you can do this project too, and you can make your quilt even larger. So it looks like Annie's ready. So I'm going to slide her back in here. All right.
Okay. So I think I'm definitely ready. I am going to still use the blue thread that's in there in the needle and the bobbin. But when you do this, you're going to want to use Superior Threads monopoly thread. It's an invisible thread, and you will not be able to see it. You can use it in the needle and also in the bobbin, and you're going to sew with the wrong side up. So that's why you need to put it in the bobbin. And by putting it in the bobbin, it doesn't matter what color thread that it goes over. I'm trying to get you centered so you can see it. Whatever color fabric it's going to sew over, it's going to be invisible thread, so you won't be able to see it. So you can choose what you're going to use in the needle. You can either match your sashing fabric, or you can use the monopoly also in the needle. I like to use it in both places, but again, today, I want you to see what the serpentine stitch is in case you don't know. So I have left that teal thread in there. So to begin, I'm going to just look here. I'm going to make sure that the raw edges on the back of the sashing strip are matching up with where the seam is. And so they are. And you can see I have extended the top of this up a little bit over just so it covers. And then we'll talk about trimming that later. And then I'm just going to start right on the edge. I'll begin sewing right on the edge of where the basting stitch is. We don't need to stitch out onto where the seam allowance is. And I just kind of center where the center needle is right on the edge, the folded edge of that sashing strip. And then I have my serpentine stitch selected, and I'm just peeking as I go. I'm like, yep, I'm lining up that raw edge with the seam, and then I can just continue sewing. So you can stick it down with some Wonder Tape if you want to. But honestly, look at how easy this is. You really don't need to. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So you'll of course, have to sew that on both sides. So there's my first side. There it is in the front. You can see it here because I wanted you to see where it's sewing. But we'll show you our log cabin quilt when we get back in there that we did actually use the monopoly invisible thread. So you can see that you don't even know it's there. Okay. So this is what it looks like. This is your serpentine stitch. Of course, your invisible thread, you're not going to be able to see it, but at least here you'll be able to see what it looks like. That's a serpentine stitch. Some of them on the machines might be a little tighter. Mine has a couple different serpentine stitches to choose from. And I just choose this one because it's elongated a little bit more, because I don't think we really need it too extremely tight in there. But a lot of times on your machines, you can manipulate those stitches as well, the stitch length and stuff like that. So I'm going to go back in there by Aubrey, and I'm going to show you how to trim these little tails off.
Do we want me to move that?
I'm going to do this here, but I needed to grab my scissors.
Okay, she's grabbing her scissors. I do see some comments that we will get Annie to answer. I'm kind of saving those. So just keep them coming. We'll get her to answer them.
Okay. All right. So up here we have where this is the seam allowance that will be where you sew the next row to this. So to avoid bulk in the seams, you're going to trim the sashing strip even with the basting stitch. So I'm going to do that right now and then show you. So you can see, because there's going to be another piece of sashing strip across here to cover that seam. So I'm going to do the same thing down here at this end. I did sew just a little too far. And then when you do your rows are, yeah, I guess it's a row that goes this direction, and you have a sashing strip hanging off the edge here, then you will trim it even with the edge of the fabric. And that way it'll get covered up by the binding. So that's it for doing the sashing and everything that goes with it, pressing and pinning and everything. Let's show them over here, this quilt. So on this little,
do you want me to get rid of this guy?
Nah, he's fine.
Okay.
He's fine. So here you can see, and this will show you a good example where you can choose if you want the sashing strip to really show up and be part of, make the back a little more interesting. You can choose a contrasting fabric, or if you want it to blend in, you just use the same color fabric that you used for your backing. But you can see the serpentine stitch in there. And I used invisible thread in the needle and also in the bobbin, so it becomes virtually invisible. I mean, can you even see it here?
So Allison actually just said, I may have missed it, but can you see the thread on the front from the sashing strip? And that's kind of what you're saying right now.
What
So
I'm
maybe you
saying
get
right
that.
now.
Yep. So
let me see if I can point that out to you. You can see it more on a fabric that reads as a solid. It just kind of blends in as quilting. You can see it here as well. Turn the angle, maybe you guys can see it better. But on the front, it just blends in with the quilting and you barely see it. Somebody would have to point it out to you.
I was just going to say, it's like, it's almost not there until you see it.
Yep. Here you can
so
see
you point it out.
Yep. If I point it out here, you'd be able to see it there. But you can see on the back, there's what the back looks like. But it basically is just invisible and blends in with everything. And
okay.
So were there any questions?
Oh, yes.
Are they typing in lions?
Oh, yes. Okay. So I just found out that this whole streaming system has a really cool feature and I've been using it. I starred a whole bunch of questions so that we can go back and look at just those.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm going to go to my starred questions. So Tammy says, in yesterday's show, you mentioned using monofilament thread, which we just talked about here too. And this was earlier, so hopefully we answered your question about what's the purpose of it. But she said, isn't that the thread that's clear and wiry? Yeah.
It's clear. And Superior Threads Monopoly, that to me is the best invisible thread that there is. So if you haven't tried that brand, I highly recommend it. It is amazing thread.
And the next question, I've got a couple different ways. And I think this is a really good question. So when you're doing your row of sashing do you do it like in a row? I know you just showed an example. So if they're putting their whole quilt together, are you recommending they do the whole row at once?
I think it is however you want to do it. But I will also say that, do you want to put us on there?
Sure. I'm like in the comments like this.
Okay. She's trying to avoid
yes.
you guys. Okay. If you have a really big quilt, you might want to just section it off, like cut it in quarters or whatever.
Oh, I
shall
got
I
an
hold this
example
up?
of that, and that's not it. But
That's
yeah,
not it.
here, I'll hold it and you
Okay.
can talk about
So
it.
here's this one, and this is just 3 blocks across and 4 blocks down. But let's say that, you know, you wanted to avoid having the most bulk under your machine as you can. This size I would cut in half. Let's say if this was a bed size quilt, you might want to cut it in quarters, but just section it off however you want. And then you can do this sashing strip and then this sashing strip. And then you can sew this seam after you've done these sashing strips. So like this quadrant, you do the sashing strips here and here, and you do it here and here. And by the way, you don't have to like do this seam or do this seam and or sashing strip and then do this one. You can do these straight across, and these are actually overlapping. So you can, you know, dissect it any way you want, 4 by 4, 3 blocks by 3 blocks. Do your sashing and run your sashing strips right over the top of each other. So you sew all your blocks together. Hopefully I'm making sense.
I think you are, but we'll
Okay.
see in the comments.
All
won't we?
right.
All right. And then someone said, and I don't think you know that. I don't think you pay attention, but what is the setting on your serpentine stitch?
I can go look. Well, you asked the other question. I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh, and then the other question I had someone say that their particular machine does not like monopoly. So, and she just ran in the other room, so she probably can't hear me. But anyone have any other suggestions of something they use? Let us know in the comments. And then get rid of that one. So what's your setting?
My stitch width was 5.0 and my stitch length was 2.0.
Okay.
And that was the default setting on my machine.
Okay. What size hoop would you need to sew the 10-inch block size?
One bigger than 10 inches.
Just a little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger. So you'd have to look to see how many inch sewing field. It all goes by sewing field, not necessarily by just measuring your hoop. And our 10-inch block here is actually 9.9. So it's just under 10 inches. I think sometimes the manufacturers they give everything in millimeters, and then when they translate it to inches, they might do a little rounding. So we do a little down rounding, and so your 10 inch is actually 9.9, and all of them are all downsized just a little bit less than what we say to. So I guess we're fudging a little bit as well.
But in the good direction, right?
Right.
So that, everything fits.
Right. As long as your sewing field of your hoop is 10 inches or under, you'll be able to do it.
Okay. I'm not sure I understand this question. Maybe you do. If not, maybe Debbie can clarify.
When you get to the row joints with the extra bulk, what do you do? Row joints. Are you talking about maybe the intersection where 4 blocks meet? There's really no bulk in there because we use the trimmer by George to remove that bulk. So maybe I'm not understanding your question. So if that's the case,
well,
maybe
I thought
elaborate.
it was just me, but I don't. Tammy said, and I think you kind of answered this already, but are you going to assemble all blocks together, then do the sashing? And we kind of talked about that.
We did
a minute ago. So you might have answered her.
Yeah. So, and this size quilt that we have here, if you want to hold that up again.
I just realized it's upside down.
This size quilt, what I did on this is I just cut it in half. And I sewed everything, all my blocks together. And then I did the sashing this way. And I did the same thing here. And then once I sewed this seam, then I began doing all the sashing in the other direction.
I don't know if cut it in half is the right word.
Oh, right. I divided my quilt block.
There you go.
So that
really cut it.
You don't have to do row by row. You can do pick a section by section and do it that way.
All right. And then Debbie asked, did you say monofilament in the upper and the bobbin, the needle and the bobbin?
Well, definitely in the bobbin. So when you wind a monopoly bobbin, you're going to want to slow your machine down when you do the bobbin winding. And that'll definitely be helpful, but definitely in the bobbin. It's optional in the needle. So in the needle, you can either use the monopoly or you can match it to your sashing, match your thread to your sashing.
Okay. Thank you. Mm-hmm. All right. And then Miss Mary Ann said, I'm a beginner. Like never made one yet. I embroider. What size is the easiest to make?
You know, they all have same exact steps. It just depends on what size you want to end up with. And if you want to just do a test block just to see how you like it, go with the 5-inch, grab some scraps from your stash and just try that out. And then maybe decide how many blocks you want to make or how big you want it to be in the end. And we give you all the fabric requirements in order to make whatever size you want.
And the steps are the same no matter
Yep.
what size you
Yeah,
do. So, okay. And then I know we don't know the answer to this right now,
Mhm.
but I know you know where to tell her to find it. And I know that we also know it's dependent upon some things. So I
Right.
figured we'd pop this question in.
Right. She wanted to know how much battleizer is needed for a log cabin quilt. Well, it is dependent, like Aubrey said, on so many things, such as the block size you're making, the hoop size you're using, basically the hoop size you're using, and how big your quilt will be in the end. But if you want to know more information on how much battleizer is needed, you can go here in the Facebook VIP group to the tab that says, it's gone. What's it say? What's it? The guides tab, right? Or
In the Facebook
files
group?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't listening to you. I was reading comments.
Where did
What are
you
you looking
put
for?
the fabric and thread?
Oh,
thing?
yes.
Okay.
Okay, so if you go to the VIP Facebook group, and I can even pull that up and show you if that's going to be something that's helpful. But in the top, it says featured. It's definitely in the featured. It's also in the guides under the log cabin workshop, and you can see all of the fabric requirements. Yes. Okay. All right. I'm just there's so many coming in. I just want to make sure that we're getting them all answered. So I'm going to switch over. And if you want to keep watching the questions.
Sure. I'll switch places with you.
Just so that we can get anything answered. But I do want to make sure that I'm sharing with you guys, since this is the last day of our workshop, it's also when our limited time pricing and bundle bonus sadly come to an end. But this is the best deal that you're going to get. So the design will remain available at local quilt shops and on our website. But if you want to get the best possible pricing and an extra bonus, this is the day to get it done. So this is going to expire tonight at midnight. And we do definitely suggest pairing this design with our battleizer. We talked mostly about battleizer yesterday, but it's basically a combination of batting and stabilizer all in one product. So a lot of times when you're doing in the hoop stuff, you want to add that stabilizer, but with our battleizer, you do not have to do that. You just need that one product. So what you're going to want to do is add the design, either to download or the USB to your cart, then pick what size battleizer you want. You know, if you're going to make a king size, you're probably going to want 15 yards. Making something smaller, 5 yards will work. So pick which size you want, put those both in your cart. And when you do that, when you put both of those products in your cart, it's automatically going to take 10% off. And it's going to add a fun little bonus to your cart all automatically.
And that was actually Roberta's question. She had to put a code in.
Okay, so no, you do not need a code unless you're out of the country. If you're out of the country, there's a different thing that you would use a code for, okay? And if you're out of the country and you registered for this event, we sent an email out with that code. But if you have questions, you can always reach out to us. I'll pop Nina's information. We keep Nina pretty busy. I think it's great. Nina's been busy. Thank you, Nina. So I just want to break this down because sometimes 10%, you're like, oh, okay, 10%. But I'm telling you what, 10% plus this bonus, you're saving some money. So the design, again, is just $45. Pick your battleizer, but the 5 yards is $33.99. And then say you wanted the bonus, that's a $15 value. So if you added all that to your cart, it would be $93.99. But when you put all that in there, you're going to get the 10% off of that. Plus you're getting that $15 bonus free. So you're saving $22.89. So it's a really nice cost savings to order during the workshop. So make sure that if you're interested, you do that to get your best pricing. Let's talk about these wonky ditty bags.
Okay.
This is our bonus.
I can't see questions
I'm
anymore.
sorry.
That's okay. I knew you'd fix it.
There you go. You're writing stuff down too.
Yeah, I am.
Do you want to answer some questions and then talk about the bags?
Yeah.
Okay.
A couple different questions. One I see up there just now, it says, do you need to use the battleizer or can you use other batting? If you use other batting, it's possible that your seams and everything are not going to line up because it is embroidery. You do need a batting that's very stable. And that's what's great about our battleizer. It's batting and stabilizer combination. So you don't need to use two different products. And someone asked, how wide is the battleizer?
It's a good question.
24 inches. However, this seems like the last few couple bolts I've got in have been more like 26, but minimum 24
That's weird.
inches wide, which is great because sometimes you can get 2 or even 3 across the width of that. So that definitely really saves.
Wait, real quick. Before you go to your next question, someone just said they forgot to order something yesterday. Can they get it today to get the thing off? Just contact Nina. She can hopefully work some magic for you and get you taken care of.
Someone else, I'm sorry, I didn't write down names. I was busy writing down questions. Wanted to know the width of the strips for the log cabin. All that information is in your fabric and thread key, and it's in your instructions. And usually it's in there. I was going to go into more detail, but it's too much detail. It's in there. And someone mentioned that monopoly comes on pre-wound bobbins. And yes, it does. And go see your sewing machine dealer. They will definitely have those. You're welcome to give them a call and go to their store and buy your fabric and your monopoly already pre-wound, which is an awesome thing. Take note that the bobbin that you get is going to depend on the machine that you have. There's 2 different bobbin classes that they sell. So take note of that too. And no, I don't know details on that.
And someone asked if we could post that order link again. So maybe Nina could do that too. We're keeping Nina busy.
We are.
Love you, Nina.
Yep. And another question is, somebody had a question, what's the difference? They had the trimmer 2.0. What is different about the 3.0? And the 3.0, basically that metal edge is so hard. It is not going to bend. And the older ones, they work the same functionality and everything. But the biggest difference is just the fact that the metal is hard. And
I would use, if you have an older one, use it till it's worn out.
Absolutely.
Because it does the same thing.
Absolutely. Just, treat it with little TLC and then you won't need a 3.0.
There you go.
Okay. That's all the questions that I may have missed some. We'll try and go back and check them out and see if we can answer any that we may have missed.
But in the meantime, I think it's giveaway time.
It is.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, so they have to type in so
tights and lions are 2 different giveaways. Let's do the So Tights giveaway. This one's pretty exciting. So what I'm going to do is just share my screen. And if you have other questions, type them in. If we can see it, they're all coming in quickly. But if we catch it, we will answer it. And I see a lot of people are typing in those keywords real quick.
Giveaways are fun.
All right, let's do this one. Okay, So Tights was so kind to send us this fun prize to give away to you guys during our live, and so that's what we're gonna do. I just saw that number go up again. Oh, there, now it really jumped up. Keep it coming.
Oh, it's still going up.
All right, we're gonna hit this button and see who our winner is.
Slowing down.
It is. All right, Sandy on YouTube. Now, Sandy, I don't know what your last name is, so what we're gonna have you do, Sandy. Congratulations.
Hopefully, there's only one Sandy.
Sandy, go ahead and email Nina. Her email is at the bottom of the screen, and we are gonna mail these to you. So she is going to need to know your address. So email Nina, let her know that you are the So Tights giveaway winner, and let her know where we need to ship these to, and we will get those out the door to you probably next week, okay? It's Friday around here, so, and we're busy, so we'll do it Monday. All right. Okay, now let's do the Lions giveaway.
There was a Sandy. It says, "I'm Sandy, Sandee, not Y."
See, the Sandy who won said thank you.
Oh.
All right, now let's do the next one. How do you guys like 2 giveaways? Well, this is honestly our 3rd giveaway of the
Yeah,
workshop.
it is.
So, all right, here we go.
Go Lions.
We got 200 people saying Lions in our comments. Okay.
That's about the same number as So Tight. So
Yeah.
49ers fans don't mind typing in Lions to win something.
Oh,
Woo!
Raylene Eaton, congratulations.
Yeah.
She's watching over on Facebook. Okay, Ray, I think I'm saying it right. Raylene, what you're going to want to do is email Nina at hoopsisters.com. It's right there at the bottom of the screen. Email Nina, let her know that you won $50 in Hoop Sisters store credit.
Nice. That's like a free log cabin and some change.
Heck yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So, and even if you already bought it, we got more stuff coming. Don't you worry. You'll find something to get. So look at this. We have the best community. Look at all these congratulations and all that stuff. So that's fantastic. Real quick, I just want to mention we meant to show these wonky ditty bags. This is the bonus, and you should talk about these because you made them and they're just so cute.
Well, the bonus is actually the quilt block that we made. It's just a quilted block that has a log pattern on it. That's the bonus. But we give you instructions on how to make a fun little zippered bag.
Yes.
So you just do the zippered bag. And if you use the backing fabric is something a little different. Where's one that has something fun on the inside?
Oh, that one.
This one. This is a little bitty one.
It's so cute.
Isn't that cute on the inside? But anyway, you'll get 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10-inch blocks that are just these quilted log cabin blocks, and you can turn them into something cute. And we give you a bunch of ideas also in the instructions on that you can use these blocks to make your quilt bigger because they stitch out a whole lot faster. And if you're in a big hurry to finish something,
there you go.
There's an option. It can be a mug rug. You can sew a bunch of them together for placemats, table runners, or whatever. So we give you lots of ideas and instructions how to make a cute little wonky ditty bag in every single size.
Yes. Okay. So make sure this is just the last reminder that the 10% off and that bonus bundle bonus end tonight at midnight. Okay. I don't want anybody to miss it. And then if you do that, you're going to get that whole collection, and how cute. It all kind of goes together, coordinates nicely. So if you're interested, make sure to do that before midnight so you get the best pricing. And other than that, the very last thing, and then we're going to be gone, is if you loved the workshop, first and foremost, we would love for you to share it out to your quilting friends. Let them know we're doing some fun stuff over here. And if you don't want to ever miss one, I highly recommend that you join our text group. This has been so nice. Everyone, it's so easy to get right to where you need to go and know that when the registration opens for the next one and all that good stuff. So you would just text the word workshop. So open your cell phone, start a text to 419-804-0006 and send the word workshop. It'll automatically enroll you. So the next time we open up registration, you're the first one to know. So yeah, the text is very handy. I'm glad you think so. We like it too. But all right, that's it. We did it.
That's it. We did it. So we can't wait to see your log cabin blocks. I think we already saw one from Joni who's on her way to Hawaii. I asked her if I could join her and she said, sure. So we'll see you guys sometime.
All right, you all. Thank you so much.
Have a great weekend. Go Lions.
Yes, go Lions.
Bye.
Bye.